All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. How's everybody doing tonight? This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back for episode 6 of Mare of Easttown. Full spoilers, the episode just finished. I am not watching the trailer. I almost never watch trailers anymore just because I don't feel like having things spoiled for me. But first, before we get going, again, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please become a subscriber to the channel. It'd be really appreciated. It helps with my motivation. And it lets me know that people are enjoying what they're finding, likes and all that other garbage. Garbage. But I also want to talk about how I've been covering this in the first place. You know, I think I probably should have really gone back and like reviewed the whole thing, and instead of trying to jump in episode 4, because I got caught up in that whole speculation thing, and speculation has been a huge thing lately. With everybody still, a lot of people still being at home from COVID, you know, TV has become a lot more in people's lives now. When you have less to do and you're trying to fill your day, and people are just binge watching, tearing through shows. Hey, I did it when I was out of internet. I was tearing through stuff that I owned, just piling it, just going through stuff. And when we also mix that with social media, there's just a lot more people talking about shows than we used to. And speculation has just kind of been bothering me for a lot of things. And I too. And so I was kind of covering the show mostly complaining about speculation, complaining about, you know, ridiculous theories, you know, and kind of not paying as much attention as to what I said the show is about. The show is about Mare and how everything else around this story affects her. But it is also about small town life, and also about, you know, the grief that Mare has. And so I wanna really cover that more here. I'm not gonna really talk about it, except they made it really hard. They made it really hard this episode because people finally started telling the truth. And if I'm the only one who wasn't screaming at the television at the end when they pull out the photo and don't show us what's in the photo that we knew was going to be important, I said it. I was like, fuck you, show me what's in that photo. Do not... Oh man, train going by. No trains all day long until I start recording a video. And then all of a sudden it's Choo Choo Charlie. So yeah, they pull out that photo, right? And we don't see what's in it. Now, we might as well talk about the big thing. So Billy is our confessed killer. And I mean, it's really not a surprise. I mean, at the very least, it's maybe a surprise that he's the killer too, or is he? Um, Maybe he's covering up for somebody else. This whole, like, there's a lot of this, I think, is about how close knit everybody is and how willing everybody is to protect their secrets, and some not so willing when you deal with Dylan and his friend and them threatening Aaron's best friend, who's not much of a best friend. Um, all these people are just willing to cover things up for other people. Even John, you know, it seems to be having a plot to take care of business on his own and not let anybody know what really happened. But we still don't really know now, do we? Except that it's pretty clear that Billy is probably the father of the baby. That was something that was pretty telegraphed pretty early on. And so that's not a surprise. But they are continuing to throw little surprises at us that they're finally taking this long to reveal the importance of certain things. I still stand by that, like, it's episode 7. Richard is still just the guy that she's kind of dating. So, but the thing is the way that they keep revealing things, I still can't say with 100% certainty that in the 11th hour, suddenly Richard's going to be like something. But I I think at this point it's a real outside long shot that Richard is anything more than what he appears to be. And I think that like these shows are learning that if you put the big star out there, right, your people are going to think that that guy's probably in on it. And the line that I used to say, I still say, I guess, is they wouldn't have a guy like Guy Pearce in the show and not have him mean something. But what if that's the gimmick? Is they're like, what if we put Guy Pearce in here and everybody's going to be focused on what if it's him, when really we should have been looking at other places. Namely, what I think, and I want to thank the commenters. I want to thank all you guys that comment for this show, even when we don't disagree or don't agree. It's fine. You know, I like hearing all the different opinions. But somebody out there was talking about Father Dan, Mayor's brother, and with the way that the police chief, the sheriff, whatever his name is, her boss, reacted to the photo to get Mayor on the phone, right? She tells him Billy confessed. He's the father. He's going up to a cabin with John. And he tells her to wait for backup, which she should, going after what just happened to Zabel. Honestly, she shouldn't have a badge still in the real world. Okay, forget show rules. Forget TV show and where cops just, get their badges back right away and they get right back to it. In the real world, she shouldn't have a badge at all. For for hiding drugs on her, on Carrie, and amongst other things. She was suspended for that. Had her badge taken away. She goes to find those girls. Great, grand. She's a hero. But Zabel's dead. She did not follow procedure. She should not have been there. And then she gets her badge back, and now she's still going out there and chasing headlong this next thing. She's told to wait for backup, and even though we know that if she slows down, something worse will happen. But the thing is that there's something bad going to happen anyway, and she's just going to be witness to it. Now again, show the inside of us knows that she's doing all the right things, but in the real world, and since this show is pretty, trying to be pretty realistic, it's just whatever. But they have us. There was one person, and I'm going back to originally talking about before I start going off on tangents, was one of my commenters brought up Father Dan. And I told that commenter, I was like, I've been silently wondering that myself. Is the one guy that nobody's really talking about is Father Dan. That now, what would be the circumstances around that? How would Father Dan be tied up into the killing of Aaron? I don't know. I can speculate, but I don't really want to. I don't want to speculate because it's just, I'll let the show do it for me. But I think that there's a good chance that he's in that photo somehow. I don't know how. Maybe it's Richard, but I'd say it's probably her brother. Because this is all, again, tight-knit. And why wouldn't the father be a part of it? Maybe they forgot to mention that he was there and knew her. Maybe Aaron secretly knew him and she was going to him before Father, Deacon Mark was there. With Father Deacon there that they arrested, he's not making himself look any better because he just keeps lying. He doesn't want to tell about him getting the crap beat out of him. He's still trying to stay a deacon when really, if he didn't, you'd say that he didn't do anything wrong, but he's making his case he's looking worse and worse, and I don't know. Everybody just keeps hiding everything. Everybody just keeps lying, and maybe that's the way the world really is, right? Everybody just covering things up and lying for each other. Sounds pretty logical. It sounds like the real world. But that's all the big major stuff, right? Because here's the other thing. Billy knows about the gun. If we're going to talk about that part of it, right? John gets Billy to confess. His dad comes over, who, that guy used to be on NYPD Blue, plays his father. I thought that was an interesting throw in here. Um, all shaken and everything, talking about Billy came home covered in blood. John gets Billy to tell him that he did it. So Billy confesses to killing Aaron. So it seems pretty open and shut. But then they don't want to let Billy go down as a murderer because she was threatening him to tell people that, he had an incestuous relationship, and, their cousin is Kenny. I was calling them brothers before because they seem to act like brothers. Sometimes I've had my cousins in the past. We acted really close too, so it was hard to tell the difference if we were brothers or cousins. But Kenny's in jail. What's he going to do? What, are they going to put him in the same jail cell? So they're like, he's telling Lori, who he's had an affair with, not with, he's already got that problem going on. And he's telling Lori, Mare's best friend, that you can't tell Mare, that we have to keep this in the family. You haven't even gotten back into your wife's house. And you're asking her to lie for your brother, your brother-in-law, that your brother-in-law murdered a little girl, a young girl, whose life she was trying to get her life on track. He's dead. And so he gets her to be silent. It doesn't work, but because she can't hold up under Mare just walking in there, she just crumples. But John decides, hey, let's go up to the lake and go fishing, before we go confess this whole thing. And as soon as he said that, it's like, oh, he's gonna take, Fredo out to the lake. It's, hey, we're gonna go take the dog up to the farm up north. Look at the rabbits. He's taking them up there to blow them away and say that, there was an accident and cover it up. And that way the family can save face and all this other stuff. That's just such a stupid plan. Made stupider because Billy finds the gun. So they're up there fishing. You know that he's like probably gonna pull the gun on his brother and be like, hey, you brought me up here to kill me, And Mare's up there, so we don't know how that's gonna happen because next episode everything gets tied together. So it's gonna be a lot. There's a lot going on right now for them to suddenly start bringing up any more stuff than we're already talking about. Like I said, that photo. And the whole thing with Dylan. And the missing journals. And them threatening her. And him pulling a gun on her best friend. What's in those journals that they're hiding from? So, how does that tie in? What did they have? What did she have on Dylan? Were they all is this going to turn into like the Murder on the Orient Express where everybody's got a motive? Spoilers for Murder on the Orient Express. Did they all fucking kill her? Did they all did they take turns? I'm joking, of course, but I mean, what does that have to do with anything? What does that actually do? Because Mare has the important thing, the pendant that led to the shop that Billy bought. That's the important stuff. I do appreciate, then you got the Carrie thing there. That was a fake out. Everybody's sitting there watching her start to fall asleep in the bathtub. And I'm sure every mother out there in the entire world, and fathers, or people, people with a pulse, I guess, just were like, oh, that kid's going to drown. And so they give us the drowning fake out. But the important, and it was easy to see coming, but I mean, he wasn't dead, so great. And it was important for this fact alone, I think. And that is, in the end, since they're fighting for custody of the kid, it'll show Carrie that as much as she wants to have sole custody, with her working all these jobs and not being able to, even stay up while he's taking a bath, it'll show her that she needs a support system and she won't be able to take care of the kid on her own, which will have her say to Mare, I can't do this on my own. I don't want to take him from you completely, you know. And that's a compromise, and I think that's a really easy way easy direction that this is going. It's easy to tell that that's where this is going. If not, hey, but trying to think of all this other stuff. And Mare, not, at the heart of this, right, is Mare. And how in the end, what the therapist tells her is true. Kind of cuts to the heart of the whole matter. She's not dealt with the death of her son properly. And that she's hiding behind other people's grief. But that, no matter how many cases you solve, the grief is just there waiting for you. It's just, you put the pause button, and anytime you go to your reality, you're still faced with it, and you're still running from it, and you're still hiding from it, and your daughter's getting all fucked up over it, and she has to finally start to face this. And that's such a great, that's something that I hadn't talked about before, is just how in any kind of thing like that, if you hide from things like that you're not dealing with, you compound it, and it's always still there. It's like waking up with a problem that you just keep putting off. Anything that you keep putting off, small, big, whatever. Eventually it becomes it becomes a problem, and it's been a problem in her life for a really long time. And I hope in the end that's where we find her in the end, is at some point able to heal. But I don't think we're gonna even be able to see that here in this series. I think that at the end of the day, all we can do is hope that there's like a hopefulness at the end of this for her. Going over to Zabel's house was a mistake. Another obvious thing. I mean, as soon as she got there, I was like, I'm going to count the seconds before she gets slapped at least once. She got slapped a couple times. Let's see. Brianna telling about Dylan being gone. Well, I said that would probably bite them in the butt, and there it is. The old cop gun. Talking about the old cop gun. Now, this is why, and I was thinking about the Father Dan theory. Was Mare's father was a cop, right? If I remember correctly. So he would probably have an old service revolver. Why wouldn't Father Dan maybe have it? I know, because of, being her brother. Doesn't matter that he's a father. Doesn't matter that he's a priest. He's a human being. So if he had the gun, like say in some of his father's things that he had, I don't know. I think that's another detail that's going to be missed a little bit by a few people. Freddy the junkie dying, that being where they find the clothes of Aaron's with Freddy's that Kenny let him have. That character finally passed away. You got Dawn, who got Katie back, that was a nice moment. Her trying to tell her, that Katie might never be the same and all that, but that she's so grateful to her for finding her, But all in all, again, I think that this is going to be a really interesting ending. It is poised to be pretty interesting because there are a lot of things to tie up. And I'm more interested in how they get tied up than the actual answers to the things, because there's just so many little threads here that can pop up everywhere. So anyway, that's it. That's all we're going to talk about for the Sore Must Be the Storm. That's a weird title. If you happen to like what I'm saying here, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. We'll be back with the series finale of Mare of Easttown next week. Don't forget to watch one of these videos. Hit the subscribe button that should be popping up right around here. Yeah. So have a great night, everybody. Be good to each other, and we'll see you next week for the finale. Bye.